The other day, this idea came to my head. What am I leaving my family behind if I were just to inexplicably die right now? And that is a very dark and scary thought. But one thing I've always told myself to make myself feel better is, well, I'm leaving in this house with a lot of equity. See, what I was taught at a young age is you need to save your money. And once you save enough money, you buy a house, and everybody knows a realtor and a lender, right? So once you buy your house, you live in your house. Maybe you keep working hard enough to buy another house, or maybe you become like your uncle that invests all over the place, and you think, well, that's what I need to do. And there's no other way that you're saving your money. You're spending the money on the nicest cars, and you're living the lavish life. And if something were to happen to you unexpectedly, you think, well, at least I'll leave my kids these houses. And I had that thought too. I thought, well, at least I'm leaving them 100,000, 150,000 of equity. They'll be fine. But let's walk down that steps. Something happens to me. They have all this money tied up. They would have to sell the house, or if not refinance, to get a much higher payment, which probably wouldn't happen. So they would sell the house, and now they're homeless, but they got like maybe 100K. How's that going to help them? How long will that money really last for? Is it going to leave really security for the rest of their lives? Probably not. And this really started making me think, like, yes, I've been helping a lot of people buy houses this past decade, either through YouTube or, as a real estate agent, and I've bought houses and whatnot, but it's been so stupid easy to make money on real estate. Like, there was a big red button with the word easy for the past decade. You would buy a house, have it a few years, sell it, make a huge profit. Everybody was Warren Buffett out here. Everyone was a real estate investing genius in the last decade. I decided that, I'm going to really start researching, and I'm going to leave my kids something better than just some equity in the house. And this is very embarrassing to say, but I knew what a 401k was. Like, people put money into it in their job, and they could take it out for the down payment, but I had no idea how they worked. I had no idea how a Roth IRA worked. I had no idea how the traditional IRA worked. I didn't know how you could start investing in the stock market. I knew there was apps and whatnot, but I was completely financially illiterate for most of this stuff. And that's embarrassing for me to say, but what I plan on doing is I want to share with you guys the first steps of my financial investing journey. And as a finance noob, I want you guys to learn with me, so that way you guys can see that if this idiot can start, you can start too. Because one of the things I've learned this past few months is it doesn't matter when you start. I had this idea that you had to be rich first or start getting a lot more money, then you can start investing. No. The only difference between you and someone who's a lot wealthier is they're going to contribute a lot more. As long as the percentage is the same, you allocate, whatever percentage you decide towards your investments, then you'll have some growth. Is it going to be massive, huge amounts of growth? No, but you'll have something. And right now, especially with the housing market the way it is, a lot of you guys have decided to say, you know what, I'm going to take a step back. I'm going to wait 6 months to a year. I'm going to recollect myself. Well, your house doesn't have to be your only investment. So sit down, grab some popcorn, grab some Cheetos, and learn. Let's learn together what I did to start the journey and what I plan on doing down the road. But let's be real, you're just here to find out what stocks I invested in. So let me just get to the point here. The number one stock I'm focusing on right now is subscribe to Javier. You want to make sure to buy as much as possible. It's definitely a great stock. And although the stock is not doing so great lately, he has a lot of potential. So make sure to invest in subscribe to Javier now. A lot of people let me know,
hey, Javier, I've been watching your videos and I didn't know I didn't even subscribe.
Yeah, subscribe, please. Like the video too. Anything helps. Do your part. So when I was having these thoughts, it was like late at night. I was in my underwear, sitting on that chair. I think at that point I was editing myself. So I was editing something, or probably just playing Destiny or whatever the heck I was doing at that night. And I started having these thoughts, and I just like, you know what? Let me just download an app. And this probably, you think it's probably a sponsored video, but it's not. It should be. It would be really smart for me to be sponsored, but it's not. But anyways, I downloaded an app. It's the RH, if you can figure that out. And I put like $400 in, and I just invested in like random companies like Zillow and Open Door, like all these real estate companies that I'm familiar with. I put it in there. The next day I was like at 410, and I was like, dude, I'm an investing freaking genius. I got this. Dude, this is so easy for me to make money. It's not even funny. Well, for the next few weeks, it started dripping down. It was like at 370, I think, and I was like, I don't know. I also found out through my Discord community, they're like, hey, dude, that app is stupid. You need to use these apps. And I did my research, and I ended up settling on Fidelity. Once again, not sponsored. Wish I was, but not sponsored at all. So I ended up like saying, okay, well, I don't want to withdraw my funds, nor do I want to transfer. So let me just cash everything out, and I'll put like $1,000 to start the Fidelity. Not knowing what to do with that money in RH, at that point, it was like months ago, I put it into this little cryptocurrency that at the time no one knew about, Dogecoin. Yeah, talk about stupid luck. Those $400 ended up, I think I put another 1,000 when it was like at 10 cents. I ended up going up to like 10,000 at one point, and I was like all crazy about it. And then I ended up, as soon as Elon Musk went to that, he called it a hustle, I cashed out. And it was okay, you know, made a pretty penny, but definitely not the norm, and definitely makes me really nervous about crypto, because if a man has that much power with tweets and SNL appearances, probably don't want to put my money in there, right? So anyways, other videos to be made about that. Let's move on. Not knowing what to do with this money, and I want to do it the right way, I sought help. And one person I found, you guys might know, she doesn't really talk about a lot about this, but I reached out to what I consider a mentor of sorts. You know, we do work together when it comes to real estate for some portion of it, but when it comes to life advice, she's like my big sister, right? So her name is Lizzie. She sat down with me, and I think she spent like 2 or 3 hours with me just going over her portfolio. I don't know if you guys know about anything about her, but she's like a freaking investing genius. She's very conservative, but she knows what she's doing. And she sat me down and just showed me the way. She showed me her portfolio, how she looks at companies, you know, how she decides her strategies and all of that. And I just left that 3 freaking hour appointment just like blown away, thinking, holy crap. After talking to her, I also went to go speak with a bunch of financial advisors, and I spoke with my CPA. And although I am a big finance noob, I think I have a gist of at least how to get started. So after all these conversations with these amazing people, this is what I basically started setting up. The first thing that I was told to do is, before you even think about investing, you need to have your cash reserve set. Yes, you know, you've heard about having your cash in the bank, you're essentially losing money because the rate of inflation is 2%. So it's just being rotted away there. However, okay, you never know what life throws at you. You never know what the freak happens, right? So health problems, life problems, who knows? So you want to make sure you have 3 to 6 month reserves. In my case, I had 3 or 4 months. You know, I'm not exactly at 6, but I'm comfortable with my ability to make money. So I'll be like, you know what, 4 months is fine for me. Now, what I was told, this scares me, but what I was told is anything after you have your 4 months reserves, stop putting money in there. You want to start and you know, putting your money into the investing portion of it. And I don't know if I was really comfortable with this idea, because we're actually saving for a house still, because, you know, we did get our butt kicked in the market. There's a video where I talk about it, but I was like, you know what, we'll allocate it. But the point is, if you want to start working with the percentages, you have to know your ratios. You have to know your budget. And I know you guys hate having this conversation, but you have to understand what percentage of your income is going towards what, and what percentage you can allocate towards savings. You have to know. So for example, in my case, you know, once I allocated like 15% of my money can go into savings, once I, you know, after taxes and everything, well, then I can decide, well, I want to put 5% into this, 10% into that, or, you know, 5% into my cash savings to save for the house, whatever. But if that's in, maybe you want to really crank it up and be like 50% or 20%, whatever the case may be, you guys have to have get at least a pie chart done of all the percentage of where your money's going. And so you can start saying, okay, we want to put this chunk towards our savings or / investments. So you have to have that done. It's your first step. Got to get it done. Sorry. Now, this is where the opinions really start differentiating. God, I cannot say that right. Sorry. Some of them said, hey, you want to make sure to not even think about stocks until you have your retirement maxed out for that year. Now, that sounds like it's the safe way to go. Sorry. But if you're a compulsive, degenerate gambler like me, that is absolutely no fun. Everyone's opinion came to me, and what I simply decided to do is, you know what, my percentage of my investment pool, I'm going to split it like 66% towards my retirement, 33% towards the reverse stocks and whatnot. You may disagree or agree with me. That's just the route I am going, with another separate percentage of my income going to cash savings for the down payment. Now, there is some idea where you could put your money into a stock account, or I think there was one form of IRA. I want to say it was the Roth IRA, but please double check, where you could take out the money that you put in back with no penalty, but not the actual earnings. But to me, I think if you're saving for a house, you know, have it somewhere you can access it quickly, not where you're gonna have to worry about tax bills or, you know, stock market or whatnot. So for me, I'm just continuing to put my money that I'm saving for the down payment into some kind of money market savings account we have with our bank. And just because, if we're going to access it within the 6 months to a year, I don't care if it really earns a lot of money. Now, this may be super conservative. You may think I'm stupid, but I'm just a safe boy. I knew about retirement accounts, but I didn't know how great they were. And this is super boring to talk about. No one wants to know about, oh gosh, which retirement account should I open? And they want to know what's in the latest freaking best stock to put my money in right now. Woo, right? Guys, it's the boring stuff that leaves a legacy for your family. I'm sorry, right? If you want to, if you're a compulsive gambler like me, set aside a little percentage just for, crazy stocks and like, go crazy, right? But to me, I want to focus more of my savings towards that, because that's, where that conversation comes in. If something were to happen to me 20 years from now, what am I leaving my family behind? So to me, it made more sense to focus on most of my money there. After talking to a financial advisor and my CPA, there was one thing that was recommended to me because I was self-employed, but please, it's not financial advice. Go seek your own advice and pick out your own thing. I will say, don't just limit yourself to whatever your company provides you. You can go out there and set up your own separate stuff, like the IRA, Roth IRA, traditional IRA, all kinds of other stuff, solo 401k. There's a lot of options for you. So please don't just settle on whatever your company's giving you. And if your company's not giving you anything, don't just complain about it and be like, oh, my company doesn't help me with retirement. You're responsible for your own retirement. Please don't just wait. Like, once again, you don't have to be rich to start. Just start with whatever. If the freaking $10 you put in there every month, $100 you put in there every month, freaking, I don't know, $3,000 you put in every year is going to be so, if you do $3,000 a year for 10, 20 years, you're leaving your family with something, with a considerably better amount than if you were just having that amount into some savings account, okay? Or you go buy yourself a nice truck. I don't know. So please do your own research. What was recommended to me is to start a SEP IRA because I'm a self-employed person. And quite frankly, I need the tax deductions. And although I'm going to get taxed when I take that money out, when I retire, I plan on being in a lower tax bracket or maybe out of this country. I don't know. Who knows? I'm not saying I'm getting deported. Stop with the joke. It's such a terrible joke. Sorry. Probably because we're going to move out or something. I don't know. But to me, I'm planning on when I retire, have a lower tax bracket, or even if I'm being taxed on it, I'm okay with that because I plan on having a lot of passive sources of income. So I'm okay being taxed from that. I'm not like freaking writing off my haircuts as expenses. I always pay too much for taxes. I am not a tax savvy person. I know the benefits and how great it is to be part of this country. So IRS, tax me daddy. That's all I'm going to say. I think there's a way to start, it's called like a backdoor IRA or something like that. Now, don't get excited about the term backdoor IRA. Quite frankly, I don't know what that means either, but I don't think it's as sexy as it sounds. It's a way for self-employed folks like myself to be able to contribute to a Roth IRA, which a Roth IRA essentially is what's recommended, I think, most of the times. If you're in the lower tax bracket, it's okay to pay taxes on your earnings. And if you put it into the Roth IRA, you're putting tax money, so it's not like an expense. It's not like a tax deductible expense. You're putting it in there. But the benefit is when you take it out, it's going to be tax-free. Not only the money you put in, but the earnings you make, as long as you take it out at the right time. So that's one way for me to probably put money into there as well. So, there's different ways for me to do it, but for now, I'm just going to start with that. And I am simply just starting. So for the retirement stuff, guys, please, I know we're all young here. We're a bunch of young daddies out here, young daddies and mommies out here. So just please start it. Don't do it for yourself. Don't do it for your retirement. Do it for the people you're leaving behind. Even if you don't have kids, you gotta, leave something behind, right? Leave something for the IRS. So now the other portion of it was the stocks thing, right? Once again, everyone has opinions about this. And God jolly, if you go on YouTube and you look up stocks, there's freaking everybody giving you their opinions. If I watch another Meet Kevin live stream, I think I'm gonna go crazy. But nevertheless, there's tons of strategies with this. And as far as I know right now, the market is great and people think there's gonna be a crash and whatnot, all that. If anyone knows anything about crashes, it's this guy, okay? Okay. I made all videos about housing crashes. I got all kinds of people calling me crazy names. Listen, I don't care about the stock market crash. I have confidence that our government is going to bail out the right people. So we'll be fine if something happens. I'm not too worried. And besides, when you're looking at a long-term investment that you're not planning on taking out for years, because I'm not putting all of my savings into these. I'm still able to put some money in my cash savings, so I'll be okay if something happens. For a long-term investment, I'm okay to ride the wave. Down, up or down, I'll ride the wave, just like with housing. So that's just my opinion. Anyways, so this is what I was taught for the stock strategy, okay? essentially what terrible explanations coming, so please do your research. I was told that there's value stocks and growth stocks and there's speculative stocks. And I read about it, watched videos about it, and I could not understand the differences. So when it finally clicked in my head is when I put it to real estate, right? So let me share with you what I learned. So a value stock was told that it's a stock that is just always doing well, or it's just reliably always strong. It's around for the test of time. It's good. So what I compare a value stock to is if you buy a house in a solid neighborhood, in a solid city with everything around it being already established, and it's just everyone agrees, not only in that neighborhood, but around it, that this is a good neighborhood to buy in, right? Everyone has agreed this, and it'll just reliably, slowly grow value over time. What companies? I'm not going to tell you because I'm pretty sure I can't. Well, I don't know the freaking rules, but do your research. And a growth stock is a stock that you're buying in a house in an area that may be still growing, or you have like an idea like, oh yeah, there's a freeway being built here in the next 3 years. So like we had an area here in Phoenix that was like Levine that was way out there. Like you had to drive like 30 minutes off the beaten path to get there. But there was always this like idea, or like the city of Phoenix announced they were going to build a freeway right through it that was going to connect two parts of the town right by Levine. And I would tell people, guys, that city's going to blow up in value. And I wish if I would go back in time, I would tell myself to stop eating so much Twinkies, but also to invest in Levine, because man, that area exploded. Like people got like within a freaking 2-3 years after the freeway was built, talking $100,000 to $200,000 of equity just in those 2 years. It's insane because it was a huge growth opportunity of things like that happening. Now it's hard sometimes because, some of these things are universally known. And something I learned is things that are universally known in the stock market, like for example, there's this new product coming out or whatever, it's already baked into the price. So it's hard to kind of predict that, but you kind of get good with it. At least I got good with it with real estate. I'm hoping I get good with it with stocks. So you're buying something with the potential of it really just exploding, or growing at a rapid rate. Or maybe you invest in a neighborhood that, isn't, really established yet, but there's a shopping center coming there soon. That there's going to be a school built there in the area. You have, just a bunch of like factors that are going to go into it that you might not be thinking about. And the third one is going to be speculative stocks. So the way I really understand these is like you're buying a house and people in a neighborhood that's established, and everyone around it knows that it's not a good neighborhood, or everyone that lives in it and around it just know to stay away from that neighborhood. But you have hope that that area is going to turn around. Or maybe you buy a house in the middle of nowhere, way out there, a city way out there, or maybe out the beaten path, and you say, this is an area that's going to go great in value. So like a decade ago, Buckeye in Phoenix, look up the prices of Buckeye, Arizona, like 10, 15 years ago, maybe not 15 because that was when the crash happened, but like 10 years ago compared to now. I would have never thought that rural town way out there was going to end up with, it used to take USDA loans, has now going to turn into what it has. So those are the speculative stocks. Now, once again, everybody's strategy differs. What I was taught is this: you want to focus on 10 stocks, and this is where you put your money in. You don't buy new stocks and new companies and everything. You just take your time and research these 10 stocks. 5 of them are value stocks, 3 of them are growth, and 2 of them are speculative stocks. And you put your money in there. You evaluate every 60, maybe 90 days to see how everything's performing. If there's something that's really taking off, like if the speculative stock is really taking it off, I think what I was told is you take out your initial, enough money and leave your initial investment in there, and you just roll that into more stocks and whatnot. So I'm pretty sure there's a strategy if something really increases in value, but essentially you're putting that money in and it's spreading out evenly, and it's just slowly growing all together. It was interesting because when you see these giant portfolios, right? Like there'll be days that it's like plus 27,000. You're just like, what? And there'll be days that are like minus 10,000. You're just, whoa, what's going on? And for me, it's only like plus $8, right? So, but the thing is it goes up and down every day, but over time, reliably, it should grow. And I'm not expecting massive returns. I think one thing I've learned from a channel that I really think you guys should check out, it's called The Plain Bagel. This guy's like a stock analyst, and he just makes really easy to understand videos. It's hard to do that with stock market stuff, but he just has a nice conservative view of things. Like he made a video about Bitcoin that his negative opinion on Bitcoin when it was really high, and no one was making those kind of videos then. So I really appreciate that guy's opinion. So please check him out. Like I said, not endorsed, just someone I really liked. I think an average profit margin that you should shoot for, I think it was like 5 to 7%, something very stable and low. Now it could go be a lot higher. You know, some people are saying there's all these courses on TikTok that'll tell you 1% a month or whatever. I don't know about that, but for me, I'm investing the money and I'm letting it rest. Invest and rest. I'm not there to day trade. I'm not there to check every day, what's happening, how much money I lost, how much money I made. Putting the money in there and just moving on with my life. And if I happen to be walking around and someone goes like, "Hey, did you hear about that new company, it's IPO that's doing well?" I'll be like, It's so funny because once you start investing, like your ears are perked up to these things, right? You're like, oh crap, that I should check that out. So yeah, you really start getting an idea of the different companies out there. So that being said, that's the three steps I've started. First, we want to make sure you have enough money in the bank, 3 to 6 months reserves. Secondly, you start setting up your retirement accounts. There are those who are conservative that say you shouldn't start putting money into stocks until you've filled out your retirement funds. But in my opinion, that's no fun. Put some money in. The third option is, play around with the stock market. But so in my strategy, invest and rest, I'm just not checking it daily, but you can definitely do it if you want, but watch out. But yeah, the Doge thing was really crazy. And I got stupid lucky. I like to think I'm like this mastermind, but really it was just stupid luck. So if you are going to be doing shit like that, like I put some money in crypto and I kind of regret it because I know a lot of people made a ton of money in crypto, but I just feel like it's not the right thing to put in. I don't know. I have my thoughts and I'm obviously still learning, but I might be moving everything into stocks. But anyways, guys, I hope this video helped you, at least know that if this idiot can start this journey, you can too. So let me know if you have any questions below. You guys are probably already commenting if I've got anything wrong or your suggestions, your feedback. So let me know, please, so everyone else can learn. And other than that, guys, thank you so much. I appreciate your time. You have a good one.